All right, let's be honest here. How many of you have seen those headlines about some huge data breach and thought, man, that's kind of scary, but like, what can I really do about it?
Right.
It's easy to think cybersecurity is this giant complicated thing that we can't control.
Totally.
But you know what? Protecting ourselves online, it's becoming everybody's job.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all connected now in this digital world. Like, whether we realize it or not, think about it. Even if you don't work for some big company, your own life, all those apps you use for your bank, shopping, social media, work.
Right.
The average small business uses over 250 different SaaS apps. Think about that. Every single one. That's a way in for hackers.
It's not just about companies protecting their own systems anymore.
Right.
It's about all of us understanding the risks and actually, protecting ourselves.
Exactly. And the wild thing is, this whole shift in responsibility, it's even showing up in the laws they're making. All over the world, there are new data privacy laws to try and protect people online. Over 137 countries now have these laws. I mean, that's a huge change from just a few years ago.
Yeah. Remember when that GDPR thing hit Europe?
Yeah.
Everybody was freaking out trying to figure out what it meant.
Right.
Now you see similar laws popping up everywhere. Brazil, Thailand, even China, Saudi Arabia. It seems like governments are finally taking this stuff seriously.
And you know what's interesting? It's not just coming from the top down. People are also taking more precautions themselves. For example, more than a third of Americans use password managers now, which, if you're not doing that already, great first step to take.
It makes sense though, right? If companies and governments are upping their game, it makes sense that people would feel like, hey, I can take control of my own cybersecurity too. It's like everybody's realizing, hold on, my data is valuable and I need to protect it.
Yeah, totally. But here's where things get a little tricky. This idea of shared responsibility. It sounds good, but it also has some kind of weird implications.
Oh, okay. What do you mean by tricky?
Okay, so think about it like this. A company gets hit with ransomware. All their data is encrypted. Who's responsible, ultimately?
I mean, I guess the company is, right? They're the ones that got hacked.
Sure. But what if that attack happened because an employee clicked on a phishing link? Or they were using a weak password? Is it really all the company's fault then?
Yeah, that's a good point. It gets way more complicated than just, hey, companies need to protect their data. We all have to do our part.
Exactly. And that's kind of where the tricky part comes in. If we all share the responsibility, where do we draw the line? What happens if a data breach happens not because a company messed up, but because, well, someone just made a mistake?
So you're saying even if a company's got all the best security, if one person slips up, it could cause a cyber attack that hurts everyone.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why it's so important for people to realize their actions online, they have real consequences. It's not just about your own data anymore. It's about being a responsible, digital citizen, understanding that your choices can affect everyone's security.
Got it. So shared responsibility means we all got to do our part for cybersecurity. But for the average person, someone who's not a tech expert, what does that even look like? What can we actually do to stay safe and make the digital world a safer place?
That's the million-dollar question, right? The good news is there are a lot of simple things you can do that make a big difference. Think of it like locking your doors at home. It's basic, but it stops a lot of trouble. Same idea online.
So what are some of those digital locks we should be using?
For starters, everyone should be using strong, unique passwords for all their accounts.
Right.
And I know. Remembering a million different passwords is impossible.
Yeah.
That's where a password manager comes in. It's just a simple tool that keeps all your passwords safe, and you only need to remember one master password.
That makes sense. I actually started using one a few months ago, and it's been a game changer. No more stressing about remembering all those different passwords.
See, that's a perfect example of a small change that makes a big difference. Another big one, phishing scams. Those emails or messages that try to trick you into giving away your passwords or credit card info.
Right.
Always be suspicious. Anytime you get an email you weren't expecting, asking for personal info or telling you to click a link.
Good reminder. I feel like I'm getting better at spotting those phishing emails, but they're getting sneakier too.
Oh, yeah. It's a constant back and forth.
It's like a game of cat and mouse.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to stay up to date. Know what the latest threats are, the best ways to protect yourself. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way.
So, strong passwords, watch out for phishing, stay informed. Got it. Anything else? Any other digital locks we should be thinking about?
You know what else is important? Software updates. I know they can be annoying. but they often have really important security patches. They can protect you from stuff that's already out there. So make sure you're keeping your operating system, your apps, your antivirus, all that stuff up to date.
Okay, so strong passwords, phishing, staying informed, updates, all good tips. But what about the bigger picture? Like, how do all these things we do individually, how does that actually make the whole digital world safer?
That's a great question. And it comes down to, well, everyone doing their part. It's like herd immunity. You know, if enough people are protecting themselves, it gets a lot harder for the bad guys to do anything. It's about creating a culture of cybersecurity where everybody understands the risks and takes care of their own digital hygiene, you know?
So it's not just about protecting ourselves, it's about protecting each other, too.
Yes, exactly. And that's why it's so important to talk about it, share what we know, encourage each other to be responsible, because really, we're all in this together.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up this episode of Byte-Sized Tech Talks.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this conversation about cybersecurity. We know it can seem like a lot, but hopefully we've shown you that it doesn't have to be.
Remember, cybersecurity isn't just about fancy tech and complicated algorithms. It's about all of us making good choices, taking those simple steps to protect ourselves and each other.
Exactly. And the best part? Even small things can make a huge difference. So, if you're feeling inspired to step up your cybersecurity game, we've got some great resources linked in the description. Tips and tools to help you stay safe online.
And don't forget to share this episode with your friends and family. The more people we can teach about cybersecurity, the better off we'll all be.
If you liked this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel.